Unbelievable! Are you looking for a no-nonsense property and business podcast? Our mission is to provide jam-packed content straight to your ears, where we can add value and unpick the fluff in the industry. If this sounds like a bit of you, then strap in and hold tight for an episode with Heidi and Dan.
Hi, so welcome to today's episode where we're going to be talking about goal setting. So Heidi is giving us a great overview of how she sets goals and compartmentalize them and break them down in order to achieve great success. So welcome to the episode with Dan and Heidi on the Unbelievable Property Podcast. So Heidi, I guess start from the beginning. So we're talking about goal setting. Why don't you share some of the goals that you have for your property business, but also how you go around the goal setting and breaking this down, and how other people can adopt these practices in order for them to be able to set these in their businesses and personal life too.
Yeah, sure. So I'll start with why I'm doing this. So a couple of years ago when I first started my business, I wrote myself a letter on New Year's Eve to open the following New Year's Eve with all of the goals, all of the aspirations and everything. And I took the time to read it, and I'd done fuck all. I'd done nothing on that list. And I was like, why have I not done this stuff? A lot of it was not achievable, but I just worked throughout the whole year on not trying to achieve those goals or focusing on them. And I decided that if I actually broke them down, turned them into little daily habits, then I'm gonna progress. There's gonna be no option but to not progress. So I thought I'd share what I've done the past few years and how I've done that. So a lot of people ask me, how do you fit everything in? How do you constantly progress? How are you always on social media looking like you're doing nothing? That sort of thing. So I've got some tips and tricks to share today. So some of my goals are broken down. I've got health-related goals. I've got business-related goals, I've got family goals, I've got personal development goals. And I've done that because I firstly started writing down what I actually wanted to feel like, not what I wanted to achieve. So what did I want to feel like? So did I want to feel healthy? Did I want to feel successful? What did that look like for me? So I started breaking them down initially.
Just before you go into them, I forgot to ask, what is the importance of goal setting? Creating your goals and objectives, and obviously the KPIs and metrics to be able to track how you're performing against them goals as well. So what's the importance for goal setting?
The main one is, so you don't get to the end of the year and go, I feel like I've done nothing. I feel like I've achieved nothing. But also it gives you a little daily sort of success to keep you going. So whether you're trying to quit smoking, you're trying to lose weight, you're trying to buy your first property, whatever that is, it's to keep the momentum there. So having a massive goal is very overwhelming. Once you start breaking it down into little quarterly, monthly, weekly goals, you think actually that's pretty achievable. So I think that's important, having that structure to aim for.
No, I definitely agree. And, goal setting is something that happens in everyday life in businesses. It forms part of the wider strategy. So I guess understanding, your headline strategy, where you are now, where you want to be, and the piece in the middle is the strategy. And then you break that down through, your goals and objectives and, like I say, your KPIs and how you manage them. Just before I touch on, obviously, there's various different ways of goal setting, but like I say, I'm in full-time work, and one thing that we set up in the team as sales was doing a wildly important goal. So that's just one big main goal, and I'm just touching on this without stealing your thunder. But then off the back of that, you have lead measures. So they're the actions you need to do to be able to do it, and then you also need to be able to, trace that, and it's an accountability piece as well, which I know you'll probably touch on about how objectives and that are keeping you accountable. But as part of the strategy, there's also something called 4 disciplines of execution. There's a book on that. So for those out there, it's something that I'm looking at reading at the minute. But 4 disciplines of execution, which also helps on executing your strategy and your goals and objectives. But that's my 2 pence. So yeah, Heidi, talk to us about your goals.
Yeah. So what I did initially is I wrote down, I took a bit, and I think this is important. You have to include reflection in your week. You have to put in that time to strategize and take yourself away from the daily grind, whatever it is you're doing. So figure out what you actually want to achieve. What do you want to feel like? And that is completely different to everybody. So don't compare yourself on social media to people. What I want to achieve is not what you want to achieve, Dan, and vice versa. So write down actually how you want to feel. I like to brain dump on post-it notes. So anyone who's watching like on YouTube or whatever, put everything down on post-it notes and formulate a plan. Break it down again, like I said before. Break it down into: is it health related? Is it family related? Is it business related? What is it related to? And then I started storing them on my phone as well. So I've got like notes on my phone, Asana, and I broke them down into compartments, so to speak. What is it related to? Then start putting outcomes next to it. What does that actually mean? What outcome you were trying to achieve? Is it getting back into a certain pair of trousers? Is it buying X amount of property? Is it raising a certain amount of finance? Is it starting a business? Whatever it is, what is the outcome? Don't put something silly that you can't sort of be accountable to. So don't just put start a business. What business is it? What sector is it? How much income you're trying to make? What do you want to achieve? And you can start breaking things down and literally scrutinising everything you're doing, then linking them to your KPIs. So again, each compartment that I have, I've broken it down into an outcome. So there's a dress that I want to get into by my birthday. I want to start buying properties. So I've broken that down into buy 2 properties.
What properties?
So mine's a HMO. So I want to buy 2 of the HMOs that I currently have a rent on. So again, I've been that specific. I know the valuation of them. I know what I need to raise, etc. So again, I've broken it down into that sort of means, and I've given them dates as well.
That's
so,
perfect.
I don't know if you're jumping in there. So what I've also done, to be quite anal with this, is I've broken it down into quarters. I haven't filled all of the quarters in yet, but break them down into quarters. So if you love a spreadsheet, I love a spreadsheet. Again, there's tools out there like Asana, Notion, Google spreadsheets, whatever you are comfortable with, journals, break that down into quarters. So what do you need to do in January, February, March and April? We're obviously in January now. I've filled mine out till April. And then I've started focusing on January. There's things I put in February, March and April, but I haven't formalised them yet. So in January, I've put certain things that are linked to the business. So I've now got an employee. What's the employee's task going to do? They need to achieve 100% occupancy, for example, in the HMO business and above 80 in the SA business. So again, I've broken it down into who's doing what, when's it going to be achieved by, what actions do they need, what support do they need, what are they aiming for.
Yeah.
You're done. I've got record 4 podcast episodes for you.
Yeah.
So
my accountability piece there.
Yeah.
Just going back to that point, like support, you say, what you're looking to achieve and how you're looking to achieve it, etc. But like you say, the key action points that's needed. So you've got 100% occupancy on your HMOs. Okay, in order to achieve your 100% occupancy, what actions do you need to take as an individual or as a business to be able to achieve that? Is that, upon, let's say, receiving a notice, you market that property on that day? Is it social media? Yeah, and it's building in. It's an action plan as well. So you've got the objectives as an overview, and then under that having the key actions that you need to do in order to achieve that as well.
Exactly. So literally every goal you have, whatever it is, you can break that down into actions, systems, processes, who's responsible for it, what date. So literally, this is what I mean. You will be successful with whatever you choose if you break your year, your quarters, your months down like this. One of the most important things I wanted to touch on is your model week that I'm going to teach you, and then also your daily habits. Once you've got your goals and your actions and you've broken it down into that level, you do a model week and then your daily habits, and you stick to it consistently, you're going to smash it, whatever you choose to do. So I don't know if I've gone through this with you before, Dan, actually. Have I spoken about the model week before to you?
No, you haven't. So it'll be a school day for me.
Oh, you'll love this. So the model week is basically a guide and a structure of how I deliver my week. So I'm now self-employed and I run my own business. A few months ago, I was in full-time work. So again, over time, your week could change, but it's dependent on what's going in your life right now. So, for example, first of all, start with, and I've got this on a spreadsheet and I've colour coordinated it, but I've got my Monday to Sunday, and then I've put in my non-negotiables first. So everyone start with this Monday to Sunday on a spreadsheet and break it down into 6 a.m. till 10 p.m. at night time and give yourself a cell per time. And then you can start filling in your model week. You don't have to stick to it perfectly, but it gives you a guide of what should I be doing now. So if you've got non-negotiables, put them in first. And what I mean by that is you can't get out of this. So I've got the school run in there. I've got the kids' bedtime in there. I have to take them to school. I have to pick them up. I have to put them to bed. I could get a nanny, but obviously I'm not. Put that in first. Then there's things that if you have to have a job, you've got a shift, you've got shift patterns, you've got other responsibilities, whatever they are, stick them in next. These are things that cannot be moved. You can do things at the same time as them if you wish, but these can't be moved. So put them non-negotiables in first. Then I thoroughly recommend putting your exercise in next. Health before wealth and all that. So I've got the days I go to the gym, the times I go to the gym. I know, Dan, you're preparing for a fight at the minute.
Yeah.
Not in Hull, but a real fight.
Yeah.
So
charity boxing event.
Awesome. So obviously that's quite important. So put your exercise in next. And then you start buffering your week. So I add in things like buffer blocks within that. So one of my main failings was constantly and relentlessly being on my phone. So I put in 2 buffer blocks a day for 30 minutes, which means in the morning, I'll answer all my phone messages. On a night time, I'll answer all my phone messages. And I won't sit and piss about on my phone in the middle of the day unless I have to. Then I've got a block for like general operations. This is how I run my day-to-day business. This is now being given over to my staff member. But basically, that's clearing all my emails, answering anything important on like the booking platforms, doing guest reviews, that sort of thing. So again, that's another half an hour. Then what I've done, I've obviously got my dinner time in there. I've got my exercise in there. I've got relaxation in there. But around that week, and this is how you grow your business or you dedicate it to one of your goals, is you break that week down into work blocks. So you can do 90 minutes of strategic work on a Monday, 90 minutes of general work on a Tuesday, 90 minutes of reflection on a Friday, and you start putting these into your week and sticking to it. There's other little techniques I can dwell on as well, but it's formulating how you actually do your model week and what you're going to do.
And do you do this week by week, or do you set this out for the month? Because I'm assuming a lot of the non-negotiables, for example, if you're in a 9 to 5 and you've got to pick the kids up and things like that, like that's probably pretty consistent over the course of a good few months.
So you'll know your sort of routine. You'll know what you do on a Monday, what you do on a Wednesday, that sort of thing. And if you've got a job like I previously had a job, I was like, right, I need to do 10 hours non-negotiable business stuff a week. Where do I fit that in? So whether I do 5 hours on a Saturday, 1 hour a day, whatever that looks like, that is achievable. You just need to make it work. As well, what I do now is I'm quite a visual person. I do have a little bit of tech. I do have some apps. I do have an iPhone. I do have a Mac, but I've also got a journal sat next to me, and I've got a big sort of wipeable week, which is stuck into my room. So again, I will sit there on a Friday. I'll do it on a Friday, not a weekend, and I'll map out the following week. So I'll put in the meetings that I've got, the coaching calls that I've got, exercise that I've got, and then if a call or something supersedes something that I've already got in there, I'll say no to it and I'll push it back and go, I can't do it, but I'll do it the following week. I've started saying no to so much stuff because it was just wasting my time or it wasn't a priority. That's done me the world of wonders, to be honest with you. So yeah, I set it up on a Friday after my reflection, and do it the following week. I wanted to touch upon reflection. I'll do that first, but basically, sit down and go, how has your week gone? Is there anything that you could have done better? Is there anything that annoyed you? Was there any distractions? Anything you wanted more of? Anything you wanted less of? Work on that the following week as well. I think there was one day I just must have sat on my phone just looking at crap for a couple of hours. I thought, what am I doing? This is a complete waste of my life. So I've now started shutting down my phone at 9 o'clock at night. So if I don't speak to you after 9 o'clock, my phone physically shuts off. I've got like a thing that will just shut all my apps off. So things like that I've started doing.
I need that for Netflix. Because after 9, I put Netflix on in bed and end up watching it for like 2 hours before I fall asleep.
I watch Netflix every day still, but I'll watch it from 9 o'clock at night, and I'll watch like 9 till 10:30 or whatever. But then I've started going to bed at 10 and reading for half an hour instead. So it's just little things about what you want to do.
Yeah, perfect. So I guess, you're quite disciplined. So, what tips do you have for people being accountable and holding themselves accountable? Because, I always find that I'm more accountable when other people are aware or I'm working with. So you hold me accountable for the podcast. I could literally, if it was just me, just fuck it off and then not do recording and things like that. But how do you keep yourself accountable?
So great question, because I've just sounded like I'm bang on and I'm not. So this is where I'll lead on to daily habits. So again, I've broken down daily habits, and it's things again that I've broken it down into health, well-being, development, business, family, and it's linked to all of the goals that I want to achieve in the year. So again, I've got things like take my vitamins, eat an apple a day, because it does keep the doctor away, genuinely. I've read it. I've listened to a podcast on that. And at the end of the day, I will look at everything and gone, have I achieved what I wanted to, yes or no? I sack Pilates off all the time, despite having a spinal fracture. That would help me tremendously. So at the end of the day, when I've gone, I haven't done X, Y, and Z, I feel shitty about it. Yeah. And then my weekly review, I'll go, fuck's sake, why have I done that? I'm not achieving it. So now what I've done is I'm working on using this spreadsheet where it gives you like percentages on whether you've achieved it in the month. And then you can sort of key in what you've done on a daily basis. And again, I've given myself targets. So it's keeping myself accountable. And if you can't, again, get an accountability partner, whatever that is, whether it's a fitness group, me and you, having a friend, family, or just keeping yourself accountable and going, is this how I want to feel at the end of the day, week, month, year, whatever? And if it isn't, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah, of course. And do you have... forgot my question. I was leading to something then, but I can't remember. How good's that? Poor interviewing questioning techniques, hey. That was what I was going to say. Do you have any templates or any templates essentially that we could sort of, if people are interested, let them have a look at it just so they can obviously help break their down to make them more productive? Or is that a coaching call?
They can jump on a coaching call. I'm happy to do that. But also I can share my sort of model week structure. You'll see what mine is, and you'll just see the coloured blocks of what's non-negotiable, where my exercise is, and that sort of thing. And I can definitely share that. And I've got people going, I've got a call. Are you going to the gym? And I'm like, yeah, because that's my. If I don't go after the school run, I ain't going. I will sack it off. And also a little tip for everybody is when you look at your daily habits, I know for a fact if I don't do Pilates in the morning, it ain't getting done.
Yeah, it's being strict with yourself. It's the saying. It's like eat the frog.
Yeah.
So eat the frog is do the biggest task or the task you don't want to do first, because it sets you up for the rest of the day, like the most difficult task done. I think there's a book called Eat the Frog, isn't there, or a podcast or something like that. But so in terms of, you talk about your daily habits, what you're doing daily, so that's very short term. How do you review medium and long term? So, for example, I work in sales. What we do with customers is quarterly business reviews. So, we look 20% behind, so 20% of the meeting is spent, this is what you've done in the last quarter, and 80% looking forward is like, what's your key strategic priorities, what are you hoping to achieve by X date, how can we support you on this and deliver that. So the reason I'm mentioning that is it's like going to the gym. You don't change in the first few days, it's consistent action, and then it's after 4, 6, 8 weeks you start noticing a change in yourself. So I guess what I'm trying to say is you underestimate what you can do in a long time and probably overestimate what you can do in a short time. So, you're talking about short term at the minute. What tips do you have for reviewing medium and long term and keeping yourself accountable to the goals?
So link it. It's always got to link back to your bigger picture. And I'll give you an example. So my income at the end of the year, I want a certain income by the end of the year. So I've broken it down into quarters, broken it down into months. And I'll say I've linked it to like serviced accommodation. So my HMO business, bloody love that. I know what's coming in every month. But the SA business fluctuates unless you've got a long-term booking and you know what's coming in. So I've linked, every day I'll look at the platform that I've got, like the channel manager, and I'll look at the upcoming bookings. Some of my properties are fully booked for up to 6 months. Some of them are doing terribly. So I'll focus on the terrible ones. And then I will go, right, I need to get the occupancy up. Am I happy with the property? Do I need to do any tweaks? Do I need to advertise it anywhere? Can I get direct bookings? At the end of the month, I'll look at the occupancy and then I'll set a target of trying to get above 80% if it hasn't already achieved that.
Yeah.
Once it's achieved that 80% or 100% target, I'll look at the income. Did I earn the income I wanted to? Can I increase the prices? Can I do something different? Can I, put an experience on it? That sort of thing. So again, can I raise the income? Once it's got that consistently, then, you're doing the right thing and you can focus on something else or you can keep that consistency. So had I looked at that target every day, every week, every month, every quarter, by the end of the year, it will achieve what I wanted to achieve. So that's how you link it to your sort of quarterly KPIs, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. And, a lot of people, I think many people don't celebrate their successes. So let's say you have a fantastic quarter and you achieve 80% or, your occupancy. Do you celebrate your small wins or your wins? Do you think that's important?
I think it's really important to celebrate your wins. And I don't celebrate in a traditional way of let's open a bottle of champagne or whatever. My weekly, what I've decided to do now is, again, I've got little treats, but I'll do that weekly. So now I'll go and, this is me looking like I'm a girl, by the way, and everyone will be shocked. I have a facial every 4 weeks. And now I've started to have my nails done, look. You was impressed by that.
Yeah.
I was like meeting
I was
with you.
by that. I think it was more shock than it.
I made that a non-negotiable that day, and I was like, sorry, Dan, we cannot do business because I'm having my nails done. So I've started booking in little treats of I'll go out for dinner with my mates, or, me and Chris went to Greg's yesterday after doing some work stuff. So I've started building it in something every single week now rather than waiting because I'm impatient. But also it makes your life a bit more enjoyable, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Like say, celebrating the small wins, and then you're more driven to succeed, aren't you? If you're beating yourself up all day, every day, and you don't celebrate the wins, then I guess you become demotivated to achieve your goals. And I think, what you're doing, your model week, I think that's fantastic. And everyone has different methods. And I think what people should take from this is maybe some things may work for them, some things might not, but adopting different practices and tracking, essentially you'll be able to find what works for you. It was weird the other day in one of my wallets, I opened it up, and when I first started sourcing about almost 4.5 years ago, I wrote on, like the little revision cards, the multicolour like pink or yellow, yeah. And I wrote 5 goals, and one of them was like own 5 properties, source 30 or something like that. And I actually looked at it, and we went through my KPIs and goals that I set. I think it was in 2019 or 2020. I was like, I actually achieved that. I achieved that, and I achieved that. And it wasn't until I actually looked at them years on, I actually realised that I achieved what I set out to. But I guess it's a case of the more you're looking at it, the more you're manifesting it, and the more you're seeing the opportunities to be able to achieve that. And I think that's really important. Being focused on your goal and having an idea of how to get there. It might take a while to gain traction, You know, if you start off, I'm just using property sourcing as an example. You know, week one, what's your objectives? Set up the business, set up your compliance. You know, get your company name. You know, that's week one. That's a big win. You've now taken your first step. What's in week two? Okay, I need investors to do a bespoke sourcing. So how am I going to achieve investors? Do 3 posts a day on Facebook. You know, do X, Y, Z. Go to 2 networking meetings a month, and all of these actions are going to help you achieve your goals. And you know, it's the input parameters, isn't it? And then to achieve your output. So. Now, I think it's really important setting goals and objectives. All businesses have a strategy, and under that strategy, they all have goals and objectives and KPIs, no matter what industry you're in. So, you know, why not do it for your own business, no matter how small you are?
Yeah, people think as well that, oh, they've bought a house or whatever, but they don't see the journey, and the journey is actually the most important bit. But I'll just share 2 just other things you can try is, and I'm not great at this, but again, like you said, it's about that visual, checking in on your goals, looking at it. Where have you written it? Are you reading it? Are you looking at it every day? You can have like a winner's jar. So again, on reflection every week, I'll put something that I've achieved, write it in, and then at the end of the year, I'll go, bloody hell, what I've done all this in the year. So like you said, attend a networking event or, you know, build a relationship with someone or whatever. But also for people who are listening to this going, oh my God, how have you got time to do this? And I had a job not long ago. I had a full-time, very stressful job, full-time, very stressful business, kids, 2 young kids, very, very stressful stuff. Have a look at your phone on a daily basis. And again, this is one of my habits, and see how much time you've wasted on shite, apps, Facebook, shite, basically.
Yeah. When it's telling you your screen time, you think, fucking hell.
Yeah.
Got to get off Reels. Got to get off Instagram Reels and
exactly.
catch you out, doesn't it?
Exactly. Or, well, sometimes, and you'll think I'm a nutter, sometimes I'm on my phone 5 or 6 hours a day, but 10 minutes might be logging my food on my Fitness Pal, 30 minutes might be my maps because I've gone somewhere to do a viewing, an hour might be YouTube because my kid woke me up at 5 o'clock, which generally happens. She's got targets now, by the way, to not get up at 5.
I need to post something like that on my daughter. She woke up at 7 asking for the iPad or fucking R5, and you're thinking, no, get back to bed.
Yeah, exactly. Well, she's got a special clock now that makes her stay in bed. So yeah, have a look at your phone. If it's linked to 40 minutes on WhatsApp because you've sold a deal, nice one. But now, because I spend too much time on WhatsApp and I don't want to, this is where you and I have spoken, Dan, about like systems, processes, procedures, automations, and getting stuff off my phone into an actual business. So yeah, have a look. Always trial things as well. Do what works for you, and tweak things. You don't have to have the same thing every day or the same week to make it work for you.
Yeah, perfect. So I think then, in summary, you know, let's talk on the key points. So we've discussed, you know, setting your goals and objectives and having an action plan, and identifying your model week and putting the non-negotiables first in order to be able to build your week around that. Then we also talked about the accountability piece, where we have an accountability partner, obviously building the reflection once a week, but also have that maybe weekly, but look at it from a quarterly perspective and review the full quarter as well, in isolation. And then off the back of that as well, celebrating your small wins, keep yourself motivated in order to be able to do that. Different software out there, there's Asana project management, there's monday.com, Google Sheets, Excel spreadsheet. You know, we'll try and screenshot and add an image of what one looks like on the YouTube video for those of you who are watching. And yeah, keep yourself accountable. And, you know, you might feel like initially you're not getting any traction, but one day it will click. And then once you start to gain that momentum, it's like a snowball rolling down the hill, isn't it? It'll just get bigger, bigger and faster. And I think that's important. Too many people give up too soon. They're not seeing their results, and they're comparing themselves to others. As they say, jealousy is a thief of joy. Focus on your own goals, be laser focused, and go get it.
Smash it.
Perfect. So thanks for listening to today's episode on the Unbelievable Property Podcast with Dan and Heidi. Today we spoke about goals, goal setting, and how important they are for your business. We'll put some links and some details in the show notes. So reach out to us if you do want any support or coaching or mentoring. Primarily Heidi, but like I say, I work in sales and develop strategy and objectives and things like that, so I can also support too. Have a good week.
Unbelievable! Thank you for joining us this week. We hope we added value to your day. Stay tuned and see you next time for another unbelievable episode. See you next time.